Ganun yung magiging arrangement natin kasi we need to follow the guidelines given by the university. As much as I want to discuss all things to you ng synchronously, kaya lang may mga restrictions tayong kailangang sundin. Kasi ang iniisip naman ng university is your health at the same time. Uh, for some of you, the capacity or the capability to buy loads for the synchronous meeting since wala pa yung SIM card at the same time we don't know if the SIM cards load will be enough to you know to give your needs in searching in a live meeting and other concerns with regards to online learning. So yun ang magiging setup natin. Okay. Corona, nandito ka na? Corona? Ito yung mahirap na nawawala-wala kasi yung connections natin minsan lalo na ngayon umuulan, mas lalong kumikina ang internet connection. Okay ka na, Corona? Naririnig mo ako?
Apo, apo.
Okay, sige. We can start now. Nakikita niyo yung slide?
Yes,
Yes
po.
po.
Yes po.
Okay,
Yes
good.
po.
Sige. Okay. So the first week is more of the fundamentals of statistics, its basic concepts, the different sampling techniques, the different way on how to present the data. And to sum it up, it is under one umbrella title that's Introduction to Statistics. So here, the first thing that we'll be discussing are the following. The main topics are, first, the historical roots of psychological statistics. Sino-sino yung mga tao na nag-ambag para sa development ng psych stats in the field. Next is the importance of statistics in psychology. Sorry for the payoff moments. The importance of statistics in psychology. So what's the significance of studying statistics in relation to behavior and affect and cognition? Ano bang kinalaman ng stats sa pag-aaral ng psychology and bakit siya naging importante? And categories of statistics, we'll try to differentiate between the term descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. We'll be also talking about what is variable and what is measurement. We will also try to differentiate population to sample and the different sampling methods in selecting samples from the total population. So, nakita niyo yung symbol sa right side? That's semicolon.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Actually, semicolon represents the symbol of the suicide awareness or the suicide prevention awareness. Kasi pag sinabing semicolon, it is actually used by authors not to stop a sentence but to continue on. So sa atin, ginagamit natin itong symbol sa psychology para sabihin na wag mong tapusin yung buhay mo, magpatuloy ka lang kahit mahirap. I actually put that kasi we are currently celebrating the Mental Health Month. Sana maging kaisa kayong lahat sa pagpapalaganap ng awareness how imperative mental health is. Okay, let's talk about the fundamentals of statistics. Now, when we talk about statistics, by definition, statistics is a branch of mathematics which deals with the collection, organization, presentation, and analysis and interpretation of numerical data for the purpose of assisting in making a more effective decision. So statistics is actually utilized in helping us to be an effective decision maker. Now, of course, before deciding something, we need basis, we need results. So the first thing that we need to do is to collect it. So after we collect result, we organize the result and we present the result in a way or in a manner that layman can understand. And after you present, you analyze. And if you analyze the data, you will be given the base or the reason on how to interpret it, whether accepting the hypothesis or rejecting the hypothesis. So that's statistics. Now, under statistics is the collection of data. It refers to the process of gathering numerical information. Now, in psychology, we have different ways on how to collect data. So, common are interview. We also have questionnaire, experiment, observation, and documentary analysis. But as a Filipino researcher under Filipino psychology, we have other ways on how to collect data that is very unique in our culture. Like pakikipagkwentuhan, pakikiramdam, pakikipagkapwa. So those techniques are actually also used for data collection. So what's the purpose of data collection? Of course, you cannot treat something, you cannot interpret something, you cannot conclude something not unless you already have the data. So you need to collect the data first. Next, presentation. So after you collect, you present now. Okay? And under that presentation of data, of course, nandyan na yung arrangement, dyan na yung organization. So naka-arrange na yan. So it refers to the exposition and arrangement of data using tables and graphs. What's the purpose of using tables and graphs? In order for us to understand the data without reading everything, without reading the descriptions, nakakatulong tables and graphs. For example, nakita ka ng graph na parang itsurang bundok. So what will be the interpretation? It's look like normal distribution. So what's the interpretation if the graph is normally distributed? Meaning majority of the respondents got an average score and gradually some of the scores are going to the left or low scores and some of the scores are going to the right or high scores. Meaning to say the scores are um, properly distributed. So okay ang ibig sabihin nun. Majority got the answers correctly. So ganon. That's the purpose of transforming data into a more understandable form or illustrations like table and graph. Now, let's talk about the analysis of data naman. It refers to the activity of describing the properties, characteristics, or behavior of the data or the possible correlation of different quantities or variables of the data that we have gathered. So in the analysis of data, it's time for you now para magkaroon ka ng basis kung paano mo i-interpret yung data na yun. Kasi before you interpret, you analyze first. So dito, this is to test the relationship of data being treated. Like for example, does the variable 1 influences the variable 2? Does the variable 2 influences the variable 1? Or are the two variables related to each other? Meron ba silang relationship with regards to their movement? Either are they directly proportional? Are they inversely proportional? Halimbawa, kapag ba magaling ang estudyante sa mathematics, meron ba siyang relationship sa galing niya sa English? Pag magaling ba sa math, automatic, dapat magaling din sa English and vice versa? Or pag magaling ba sa math, mahina sa English? Or pag magaling ba sa English, mahina sa math? So we need to analyze the relationship of the data. Are they directly or inversely proportional? Paano yon? Bakit gusto natin malaman yon? Kasi we would like to unlock mysteries kasi, no? Para if ever na masabi natin meron siyang relationship directly or pag mataas ang math, mataas din ang English, pwede natin gawin is to improve the English para mas ma-improve ang math or to improve the math para mas ma-improve yung English. So that's the reason why we're doing different studies. So that's analysis of data. Okay, let's proceed with the interpretation of data. O syempre, after you analyze, the next step is for you to interpret the thing that you analyzed. Now, it refers to the activities that involve explanation of the meaning of the statistical finding for the formation of valid conclusions and inferences. Meaning, we are giving inferences based on the computed value. Like for example, may alam ba kayong mga mga statistical tools na nagamit na ninyo during your senior high or college days? Yung mga naalala kayo?
Likert scale po.
Likert scale is not a statistical tool. It's a type of scales in making questionnaire. Ang ibig ko sabihin sa mga statistical tools, narinig nyo na yung t-test, z-test, ANOVA, correlation, chi-square.
Yes
Chi-square.
po.
Okay, meron sa inyo gagamit ng chi-square.
Parang yung sa ano po, research po yata namin yung dati, sir. Kaso di ko na po masyadong matandaan lahat.
Okay, Jenny. Nagamit na ni Jenny si chi-square. Ano ang symbol ng chi-square pagdating sa value? Anong ginagamit na symbol pag chi-square?
Di ko na sure, sir. Di ko matandaan. Kasi dalawa po yata yung pinagpilian namin nun. It's either magka-chi-square po kami or mag-ANOVA po.
Okay. Actually, medyo hindi ko mag-gets kung bakit ang layo na pinagpipilian ninyong dalawa. Chi-square kasi is a non-parametric test and ANOVA is parametric test. And chi-square, the purpose of chi-square or the main utilization of chi-square is to test the difference and relationship of nominal data. On the other hand, ANOVA naman is for interval and ratio data. So magkaiba sila. Kung i-test mo ay relationship, pwede si chi-square pero kailangan nominal ang data mo. Okay? Yung chi-square siguro kung naalala mo siya yung x squared. X squared ang ginagamit natin na symbol doon. Now, sir, bakit mo tinatanong sa amin kung meron kami alam doon? Yun yung ibig sabihin na interpretation of data. Yung mga value na kinukompute natin, meron siyang ibig sabihin. Halimbawa, sino sa inyo nakakaalam ng person R or Pearson R? Pearson R is also known as the Pearson product moment coefficient of correlation or Pearson R. Wala nakakaalam sa inyo nun?
Nakalimutan na po, sir.
Pero naalala niyo yon, yung correlation na yon.
Narinig
Familiar sa
lang.
inyo? Okay, narinig ninyo. Yung value niya kasi, may ibig sabihin. Halimbawa, the value is positive 1. Perfect correlation. Negative 1. Perfect correlation but inversely proportional. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng interpretation of data. Kada value na nakocompute mo, meron siyang laman. Meron siyang meaning. Okay? So that's interpretation of data. So let's talk naman, okay na tayo sa fundamentals. Malinaw ang fundamentals sa inyo?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Yes po.
If you have queries, if you have questions, if there are things that looks vague to you, just stop me and directly ask me now para at least ngayon din ma-address natin yung questions. Okay. Historical roots of psychological statistics. How psych stats started in the field. So ito, yung tatlo na to, syempre naman, kahit saan naman, no, majority of the field that we're studying today ay malaki ang impluwensya ng tatlong great philosophers na ito. We have Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Now, the influence of Socrates in psychology is his beliefs that thoughts and knowledge come from within us. And the understanding of the self allows us to live in a virtuous life. Ano sabi ni Socrates? Actually, it's not specific to statistics but it's more of a psychology as a whole. So sabi niya, para mamuhay ka ng tama at naayon sa mga guidelines at rules na pinapatupad sa lipunan, ang una mo dapat ginagawa is intindihin mo ang sarili mo. Dahil kahit kailan daw, hindi ka mabubuhay ng maayos, ng righteous, kung hindi mo kilala ang sarili mo. So everything should be started from understanding yourself first. Because living in a virtuous life is also living with understanding to other people. How can you understand other people without understanding yourself first? So that's the idea of Socrates. Ngayon naman, nag-present ng idea si Plato. Ano naman sabi ni Plato? He introduced to us that human is a rational being, that we are born with the ability to understand the relationship of the events around us. So ang idea naman ni Plato, tayo ay rational creatures. When say rational creatures, we have this ability to know what's right and wrong. Tayo ay merong morality. Alam natin ang tama at mali. We're rational being daw. And according to Plato, that ability to differentiate what is right and wrong, that ability to think rationally is an innate ability. Ibig sabihin, pagkapanganak mo pa lang daw, meron ka na niyan. And you don't need to experience something. You don't need to expose in a particular culture in order for you to show those characteristics, those behavior of being a rational being. Kasi daw, pagkapanganak mo, meron ka na yan. Nasa iyo na yan. So, hindi mo kailangan i-expose sa sarili mo sa culture para matutunan yan dahil nasa mga genes mo na yan, nasa DNA mo, nasa pagkatao mo na yan. So, that's the idea of Plato. Now, nagbigay naman ng ideas si Aristotle. Ang sabi naman ni Aristotle, experience rather than reason. Okay? The man's reasoning is a form of making generalizations from experiences and observations made. Kontrapelo naman itong idea ni Aristotle sa idea ni Plato. Kung kay Plato, ang idea niya is we can think, we can rationalize idea innately, pagkapanganak pa lang. Para naman kay Aristotle, hindi. That ability to be critical thinker, to reason out, is not innately or innate. Para sa kanya, yung kakayahan mo na yon ay natututunan mo yon because you are experiencing something and you are observing something. So parang yung idea ni John Locke, no? Kilala niyo si John Locke?
Yes, sir.
Sino si John Locke?
Tabula rasa po.
John
Very
Wick.
good. Hindi John Wick, no? John Locke lang tayo. John Locke, a philosopher, proposed the idea of tabula rasa. Ibig sabihin, pagkapanganak mo, your mind is a blank slate. No? It's a blank sheet. Walang-wala ka. Malalagyan lang yan kapag naka-experience ka ng mga bagay-bagay. Actually, that idea of tabula rasa started not in John Locke, but it started from Aristotle. Kaya lang, yung term na tabula rasa, ang nagpopularize on ay si John Locke. Okay? Na dito tayo sa mga hindi masyadong familiar tayo. We have Gustav Fechner and Hermann von Helmholtz. By the way, who's the president of the class again?
Sir, ako po, sir.
Who's speaking? Sorry.
Sir. Sir Angelica po, sir.
Sorry,
Yes
Angelica.
po, sir.
We started ng 1:20.
Yes po, sir.
Tapos we only have 1 hour and 35 minutes. So please stop me kapag 2:35 na.
Okay po, sir.
Okay, sige, thank you. Kasi we need to follow the university's guideline. Anyways, let's proceed with Gustav Fechner and Hermann von Helmholtz. Ano naman ang kanilang ambag sa psych stats, no? Si Fechner, he claimed as the one who started the formal beginning of experimental psychology. Eh sir, siya pala ang experimental psychology. So why we are talking him sa history ng psych stats? Remember, in experimental psychology, it is a requirement to do an experiment, obviously. And doing experiments needs numerical data. And those numerical data are subject for statistical treatment, no? Kaya ang XP-Psych at ang Psych Stats, they are partners. Pati research in psychology. Kasi they are utilizing psychological statistics on the studies that they are making. So malaki rin ang impluensya ng XP-Psych in the sprout, no, of psychological statistics. Helmholtz, on the other hand, have a contribution on newly emerging XP-Psych. So ang ginawa niya is parang pinapopularize niya yung sinimula ni Gustav Fechner para mas magamit at mas ma-improve pa. Okay, next we have Charles Darwin and Wilhelm Wundt. Of course, alam niyo naman, familiar kay Charles Darwin. Anong ulit ang theory ni Charles Darwin?
Evolution.
Evolution.
Theory of
Natural
evolution.
evolution.
Sige, evolution.
Origin of species.
The evolution of man. Tama. The evolution of man. How about Wilhelm Wundt? Ano ang iyong idea kay Wilhelm Wundt? Ano naalala niyo kay Wilhelm Wundt? Hindi niyo kilala si Wilhelm Wundt?
Father of psychology.
Very good. He is the father of psychology, the father of experimental psychology, the father of modern psychology, the father of scientific psychology, and the father of his daughters and sons. Yan si Wilhelm Wundt. Okay? Sikat si Wilhelm Wundt kasi siya ang isa sa mga pinaka-nagsimula ng pag-aaral ng psychology with touch of science. Simulan natin kay Charles Darwin. In 1859, the theory of evolution was proposed by Darwin. He established the continuity between animal and human, and it made comparative psychology important. Okay. Now the question is, what is comparative psychology? May nakakaalam ba kung anong comparative psychology? Ayan na. Isimula na po silang tumahimik, mga kaibigan. Sige nga, baka may... go ahead. Sino to?
Sir.
Sino yung sasalita?
Opo, sir.
Sino nga? Mangalan.
Si Harley po. Si Harley po.
Harley, go ahead. Harley, sige.
Sa idea ko po, yung
Okay.
comparative psychology po, kumbaga parang something relationship, yung human mind and human behavior, there's something to do with relationship po. Kumbaga, i-compare mo po siya sa isang bagay or sa pwedeng, yun nga po, sa hayop. And you will make a distinction between the two kung paano po siya interrelated sa tao. Ganun po. Parang ganun.
Okay. Partly correct. Thank you, Harley. Thank you for that idea. Sino pa?
Ako po, sir.
Sige. Name? Ano name?
Shoko po,
Hello?
sir.
Shoko. Sige. Shoko, sige. Ano naman sa'yo?
Sa pagkakaintindi ko po, parang studies po siya ng tumutukoy po sa similarities and difference po ng behavior po ng mga organisms po.
Okay. The similarities and differences of the behavior among organisms. Pwede rin, tama din yun, no? But by definition, when we talk about comparative psychology, the purpose or the agendum is to compare the behavior of different species in order to understand the evolution, the genetics, and the adaptiveness of behavior. Okay? Ang relationship daw ng mga behavior or dito, the psychology of all organisms, para mas maintindihan natin yung pinagmulan ng mga behavior natin. Like for example, the mating styles, no? The mating bonds, yung behavior ng mga hayop when they are courting. Yan. Courting behavior of animals. Paano ba yung mating and courting behavior nila? Paano ba manligaw ang palaka? O nanliligaw ang mga palaka through singing, no? Sa mga palaka, sa mga lalaking frogs, para maakit nila yung mababaeng frogs, kumakanta sila ng kumakanta, syempre. Tapos, kung sino mas mataas na boses, yun ang pipiliin ng female frogs. Ngayon, kung nagkataon na yung melody ng boses ng dalawang male frogs o ng maraming male frogs, ay halos pantay-pantay at walang nananalo dahil pareho silang malakas kumanta, doon sila magkakaroon ng riot. Maglalaban na sila talaga, physical fight na. So that's one of the courting behavior. Kung para mo sa tao, merong similarity, no? Ang iba, we have our ways on how to court women, and same thing, women, when courting with men, syempre may mga ganun na. At kapag hindi nakuha sa ganung paraan, nag-aaway din. So there is a similarity with regards to behavior. Another example is the idea of monogamy and polygamy. Kasi monogamy, ano lang, stick to one lang yung shota mo, yung partner mo. Halimbawa, yung bald eagle, no? Yung bald eagle, kapag nakapangasawa na siya, nakakuha na siya ng partner niya na female bald eagle, hindi na siya maghahanap ng kahit ano pang eagle. So yun na yung magiging asawa niya forever unless mamatay yon. Pero hanggat buhay yung babaeng eagle na yon, hindi na siya magpapalit ng partner niya. That's monogamy. Kumbaga sa mga eagles, merong forever kasi hindi sila nangangaliwa. Okay? May mga hayop naman na may iba't iba silang asawa. The idea of polygamy. Hindi sila nakokontento sa isang babae lang o sa isang lalaki lang. Now, meron bang similarity yun sa human behavior? Yes, meron din culture sa atin kasi na dapat stick to one lang. May culture din sa atin na dapat pwedeng mag-asawa ng ilan ang babae, pwede rin mag-asawa ng ilan ang lalaki. So, that similarities, no? Those similarities with regards to their courting and mating behavior can be actually used, no, to understand the evolution of behavior. Kasi ang idea ni Darwin, kung may ganung behavior ang hayop na to at may ganung behavior din ng tao, ibig sabihin there's a possibility that we have common ancestors, no? We have common lineage. Galing tayo sa isang ancestor lang. So yun ang kanyang idea. That's why malaking ambag din sa pag-aaral ng biology in relation to psychology ang comparative psychology. Okay. Now, following Darwin's principle, some psychologists believe that consciousness, emotions, and other psychological processes would be understood if the relation between these processes and how they serve the adjustment of people to their environment become known. So the idea of Darwin is psychological processes must be studied together.